The pattern you see today has 5 patterns in one, 5 separates that you can use either for athletic or swimwear. I've got 7 garments to share, quite a bit of a collection here. Very excited to share, stay with me. Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing, and today I have a variety of items to share with you. I think this is the episode where I'm going to share the most amount of makes, 7. It's just that once I got the ball rolling, I just wanted to make a set here, another set there, a separate here, a separate there. You can get so many garments from this one pattern, and what I'm talking about is the new release from Love Notions called Clearwater Summer Essentials. These are meant to be athletic or swimwear, meant to be made with neat fabrics, of course, and you have 5 separate patterns here. You can sew a tankini or a dress, so there you have 2. Both of these have a beautiful sweetheart neckline, but it's a little softer. It's not going to be as sharp looking as if you did it with a woven and a facing, that type of thing, but it's really pretty. And it's not just a round neckline or a V neckline, it's a little bit different, very pretty. At the back, it's more of a square neckline. The sleeveless armhole is finished with a burrito method, very clean on the inside. The way you finish the tankini and the dress on the inside is with a built-in sports bra. That's where the 3rd separate comes in, the sports bra, because other than having it be inside the tankini and the dress to finish the neckline, you can also sew it separately as a separate, at the under bust area it's finished with an elastic that's sewn on the bottom and folded up and top stitched. And then separate number 4 is a pair of briefs. These have full coverage. I have made one in a swim fabric, full coverage on the front crotch area, full cheek coverage as well. The waistband on the top is a rectangle, nicely fitted, hits the natural waist, very nicely fitting, and they are fully lined. The legs opening are stabilized with elastic on the inside. Very neat sewing technique, very easy, very fast to put together, and you're going to be super happy with the fit if you like bottoms that have more coverage, which I certainly do. And then the 5th separate that we have here are shorties. These are going to be around the mid-thigh area. If you want to wear them under the dress, you can certainly wear them because you're not going to see the hem of the shorties under the dress. That was my intention, at least. The shorties have a side panel, and in that side panel is where you have the pocket incorporated. Very easy to sew pocket. Very clever gusset here that is a rectangle. It's not a triangle type of gusset, so there's no little fiddly angles to deal with when you're sewing this gusset. It's very, very good. And it means that at the crotch area, right in the middle where the inseam would be, you don't have a seam, which makes it much more comfortable. They're nicely fitted. They have a nice wide waistband that's nice and compressive. All these items, it's really, really easy to get excited and make more and more and more. You don't need a lot of fabric to make them. The one that you would need the most is for the dress. So I ended up making 7. 1 brief, 3 shorts, 2 tankinis, and a dress. Because the Clearwater is a brand new pattern, it's going to be on a discount for the first week. I believe it's about 25% off. If you use my code at checkout, which is 10 pins at this point, new code, you get an extra 10% off. I'll leave you my affiliate link and my code in the pinned comments, in the comment section right on the top, very easy to find, also in the description box of the video. I'm also going to show you helpful sewing steps over here. So a lot of resources here in this episode to help you put your Clearwater together. I'm sure you're going to love them. And if you do end up using my link to get to the webpage and ordering, I do receive a commission because it is an affiliate link. It's one of the ways I make an income here on YouTube, making all this content that is free for you to watch. So if you use my link, as always, I'm mega grateful. I have things to say about fabric. This is for athletic fabrics or swim fabrics. You need good compression here. These are fitted garments. So I would suggest that when you look at fabric composition, you look at one that has at least 10% spandex in the blend. You can find blends of polyester and spandex, or polyamide and spandex, or a mix of nylon in there, but make sure that you have at least 10% spandex so that this, when it stretches, will recover well and stay close to the body and it won't end up stretching over time. The pattern recommends 40% stretch horizontally and vertically. My fabrics, I have tested them and they have about 50% stretch, so that's okay. I'm saying that 40% is the bare minimum. I wouldn't want it to go to 100%, that would be way too stretchy. So I think a sweet spot would be between 40 and 70%. I think you would be okay. About the weight of the fabric, depends on what you're making. I think You could get away with making the dress out of something a little lighter, maybe like 9-ounce weight. But I think the tankini, the shorts, the briefs, they should be a little heavier. So maybe look for something around the 10-ounce weight. I'll show you here on the screen what my fabric is composed of so you can have an idea. These are the ones that I found around the 350 GSM or 11-ounce weight. They all have quite a nice amount of spandex. One has 16%, the other one has 21%. My swim fabric, that has 10% spandex. So they're all very good quality. I'm very content that these are going to last a long time and they're not going to stretch out in the form over time. Other notions you need are to stabilize armholes, necklines and leg openings, and that is elastic. Now in the pattern it says swim elastic, 3/8 of an inch type elastic. That could be braided, that could be knitted. I'm using clear elastic because that is the only thing I can find. So it's a sort of precious type of notion for me, and it works really well. It doesn't stretch a whole deal, but it's worked for all the sports bras that I made and I've stabilized armholes for and everything. So I'm quite happy. I'm not going to stress if I don't have swim elastic, and I just could not find anything specialized like that. But if you can, I think it would be amazing. So if you can find them, great. We need to add elastic to the bottom of the bra, 1-inch elastic. For the built-in bra situation, I've never made one that does not have a layer of power mesh on the front. I feel I need that extra support, that second layer there. So if you can find power mesh or you have some, I highly suggest you cut another layer of your front piece. Just put them together and baste them together, and they can act as one piece to have a little bit more support there. I know a lot of people like doing that. I like doing that. I got mine about 2 years ago from Mood Fabrics when my husband went to the States. He brought me a suitcase. I got like 8 yards of the stuff so it can last forever. I'll leave you the link of the one I use. Not affiliated to Mood at all. It's just the one that I use, and they still sell it. If you want to give it a go, I think it makes a big difference. Sizing goes from extra small to 5X. That goes up to a hip of 59.5 inches. And as usual, you have a fit for standard bust and full bust option. This, of course, in the context of the bra, the tankini and the dress, nothing to do with the shorts here. So if you measure your upper bust and your full bust, and the difference there is 4 inches or more, the full bust is going to give you a better fit. So take that into account. As in general, for the bra, the tankini and the dress, you're going to have 3 inches of negative ease at the bust. That means that the garment is 3 inches smaller than your bust measurement, which is correct. That is how it's supposed to be. You wouldn't want these items to be looser, or then your neckline and armholes and everything would gape and it would just not look very good. So don't be scared if you see smaller numbers in the finished garment measurements chart than in the body measurements chart. It is supposed to be like that. Now for the tankini and the dress, they're not skin tight, so if you go down to the waist, you're going to have about 2 to 4 inches of positive ease. That all depends if you're using the standard bust and the full bust option, because remember the full bust option adds 2 more inches to the waist and the hips if you're using that version. Same as if you're going down, you're going to have about 1.5 to 3.5 inches there. It all depends what bust option you're sewing. I brought the briefs and the shorties. They both use the same waistband. If you measure the finished waistband length for your size and compare that to the body measurements chart, you're going to see that it's about 5 to 6 inches smaller. So around 5 to 6 inches of negative ease for this waistband. Down at the hip area, it's around 3 inches of negative ease for the shorties and the briefs, which is perfect. It's going to be nice and fitted. Now, personal fitting, very easy. I sewed a size large. I just used the regular bust option because I have a 3-inch difference. And just looking at the pieces, and from knowing how the block at Love Notions fits me, knowing I'm also 5'8", a little bit taller, I know I need to add length to the tankini, the dress, the bra. I know I need to add it around the bust area. So I just separated all the pattern pieces around this area, cut them across, added 1 inch there to the side front, the center front, the side, the back pieces, everything, including the bra. Just because I'm longer in this area, it's not because I have a larger cup size, it's just that I'm longer. I'm just taller. So that is one fitting adjustment that was super easy. I did it even before sewing my first test garment and it was spot on, and that's just because I know if you're petite, maybe you need to do the opposite. Maybe you just need to leave it as is if you are more regular height. It's all about testing. And then for the dress, I knew this dress was going to be mega short on me. I'm just taller. A lot of my length is from the waist down to the floor. So other than adding the inch over here for the dress, at the hem, I ended up adding 2.5 inches in the beginning, but then I ended up cutting 1 inch off, and it's 1.5 inches. So my dress is about 2.5 inches longer than the original dress. And you'll see it's probably one of the shortest dresses you'll see me wear. That's fine for the context of getting into the water or doing sports or going for a walk. Another personal fitting adjustment has to do with the waistband. I mentioned I thought it was a little bit tight for how I prefer it. So I just made my waistband 1.5 inches longer. Just added to the rectangle, to the length, and that means that I'm going to have about 4 to 5 inches of negative ease instead, which is still fitted. It's still going to stay up and achieve its purpose of holding up the briefs or the shorts, but I feel that it's going to be a little bit more comfortable for me. It's going to feel different depending on the type of fabric as well, because the briefs I made out of swim fabric feel less tight than the shorties I made out of heavier, more compressive athletic knit fabric. Those feel tighter. So it's not going to feel the same with every fabric, but still I think in theory 6 inches smaller than the waist is a little bit tight, but that's just how I feel it. Now for the sewing, this pattern was the one that got the most votes in my monthly sew along that I do on Patreon. So I had a couple of very busy days filming everything in all detail. Here I'm going to show you a summary of the pieces, so you won't see the full-on detail that I do on Patreon, but you will still see the general construction and the steps of how to put it together, just with less detail, a little bit shorter. So I'm going to separate all this next section into 3 big areas. I'm going to put the time stamps in the description box, and we're going to start with the briefs, then we're going to go to the shorties, and then we're going to finish with the tankini, the dress. The briefs are lined. You need clear elastic. I use the same fabric for the outer layer and the inner layer. You can use something different if you want to. Let's see how to sew the briefs in a few minutes. These are the pattern pieces for the briefs. This is the waistband. This is all swim fabric, and this is the waistband here. It's the same waistband you use for the shorts. It's only going to have one seam at the center back over here. This area is on the fold. This is the front, this is the back. You're meant to cut one out of main fabric and one out of lining fabric. I know a lot of people have used prints for theirs and then lined with something else on the inside. In my case, I'm making very boring ones, navy. And it's because this navy is going to go under a lot of things. My dress has a print and a lot of navy in there and blue, so I thought I'll just make a solid navy. So I have 2 of the main. I'm self-lining, so my swim fabric is going to be on the outside and on the inside. And that's all you need for the briefs. The other thing we're going to see at the sewing machine is the elastic, because it's going to be elastic sewn in here onto these leg opening areas. Here are my 2 layers for the briefs. This one's going to be the lining, that one's going to be the main. So basically for both of these, we are going to align the crotch areas together here. They have a slightly different curve. I prefer to do this with the sewing machine, and I think it'll be more comfortable and lie flatter than a serge seam. That is my reasoning for doing this with the sewing machine and not the serger. Okay, here I have my main layer. I've got it right sides up here, and now I'm going to get my lining layer and put them right sides together, right on top of each other. I've taken my time to pin these leg openings right there. I'm going to sew these on the serger directly. Because it's 3/8 seam allowance, I'm going to be trimming away a little bit as I serge, trimming away about 1/8 of an inch there to respect the seam allowance. Now in the pattern, you have a chart with the length of the elastic you need for the leg openings according to the size, because you're supposed to stretch it a little as you sew it. Well, I've got rigid clear elastic. This does not stretch much at all, so I'm just going to be sewing this on while I sew and just pulling it and having a little tension there as I sew. To sew the elastic on, I'm going to use a medium-sized zigzag stitch. These are my settings, 3 width, 3 length right there. You can see clearly which is my lining layer because of all the L's. On this other side is my main, and this is the side that I want to sew the elastic onto. Here are the leg openings. You can see clearly which is my lining layer because of all the L's. On this other side is my main, and this is the side that I want to sew the elastic onto, on the main side, not on the lining side. And this is where the little trick comes in, where the lining is not going to poke out of my briefs later. What I want to do with this elastic is sew it a little over the seam. So we have the serged edge. This is going to go past it by about 1/8 of an inch, and that's what's going to keep the lining side on the inside. It's not going to come out. What we also want to do is not sew the elastic right from the edge. We want to keep it out. I'm going to leave it out about 5/8 of an inch right there, because after when we sew the side seams, we don't want elastic there getting in the way and making that really bulky. If I put the elastic right on the edge, it's not what I want. I want it a little further in, like 1/8 of an inch, like that. And that's how I'm going to be sewing it and guiding it along the curve right here with the zigzag stitch. When I get to the other side, I'm also going to stop sewing around there so that it doesn't go all the way to the edge. So now I'm going to pull these right sides out through here. Just going to put my hand and just turn this all right sides out like this. What we need to sew now are the side seams, and that's super easy. Just take this one and extend it, and then take this one and extend it and meet them here, right there. One side and then the other. Okay, here we have one side seam pinned. You can see it's a little bit of a shape right there. And here is the other side pinned. I'm also going to sew these on the serger. Okay, these side seams have been sewn right here. This little area where the seams meet is a little tricky because of the angle. Just be careful and go slowly. And now we can actually put all the seams together and get them wrong sides together. So it's just super easy to just flip it, and you're going to have your briefs all ready. The 2 layers still have the raw edges of the waistline right here. Before sewing on the waistband, I want to baste these 2 layers together so they can act as one piece. You can see that they tend to curl as well. So that's why I'm basting them right on the edge. It's a red thread and it's going to be a serge seam there, but I can still pull the red thread out later. It's not going to worry me. I just take my time to pull it out. But it's important to me that these 2 layers are basted on the edge so I can sort of stop that curling happening, and they can stay together and not move around when I sew the waistband on next. Here are my briefs in navy. This is gonna match my dress that I've made that you're gonna see in a little bit. They were super easy to put together. If you're not filming and doing that sort of thing that I do, it would take you no time to put them together, and it's so easy to turn them right sides out. This is the area that's stabilized with a clear elastic, which means it's super, super firm. They're not going to stretch out. This stays really close to your leg. It doesn't dig in, which is what I wanted as well. It didn't end up digging in. So the size that I chose was perfect. Very good. I really love how they fit. And I'm just a bit boring like that I did them the same in and out. I had enough of the swim fabric and I just wanted a solid piece. Let's keep it simple. Here is a nice waistband. It's the same waistband you'd use for the shorties, and there's only a seam at the center back over here. Very nice. It's so easy to sew. You could make so many of these with small amounts of fabric. Use leftovers for your lining, you know. There is a seam down there that's all lined. And let's be honest, I'm not going to model these for you. It's just not something I'm going to do. I don't feel comfortable. I've been wearing shorties in the pool everywhere. When I did triathlon, when I used to train in the pool, it was always those swimsuits with shorties because that's just how I feel most comfortable. But this is going to be amazing under my dress. It's going to be bulk free. You know, you don't need shorties under the dress to go into the water. So that's why I made them, and I think they're amazing. Just take my word for it. The coverage here in this area is really good. You're not going to be showing anything that you don't want to show. And you can see by the shape here that your cheeks are going to have full coverage. So you're not going to be showing any cheeks if that's not what you want to do. I don't have a pool or a water situation right here to go in the water and take a picture like that where the image would be sort of, you know, I'm in the middle of winter here. But take my word for it. They are great. Highly recommend. And now let's hop into the shorties. They are so easy to do. I'm using a really wild green snake print athletic knit here. So let's see how to put them together. Here are the pattern pieces for the shorts. This is the waistband. You use the same waistband piece for the briefs and the shorts. So it's just simple rectangle. This is the fold. It's going to have one seam at the center back. These are the legs composed of 3 pieces. This is the back. This is the middle panel, and this is the front. The middle panel that goes between the front and the back leg is going to have a pocket there. I was trying to make good use out of my fabric. I'm only going to use one pocket here on my right leg. That's where the pocket's going to be. Now, this middle panel is not a rectangle. It's longer on one side, here on the top, shorter on the other. The longer end matches the back. And in this area, you're going to have double notches. In this area, you're going to have single notches, so it's going to be easy to match up. Pocket goes right there. It's super easy pocket to sew. Now, you might be wondering, how come these crotches look so short right here? the back, the front, you can barely see it. And that's because after you've sewn the legs together, you have this gusset, and the gusset is going to involve all the seam here of the legs. So it's a super easy gusset to sew. It's not a triangle. There's no tricky bits. It's going to be super, super easy. And it's just one gusset piece that's going to go in between the two legs at the inseam area. You're going to end up having two seams instead of one. Very comfortable, very easy to sew. This side panel is going to go on top of the pocket right there. And here you're going to have matching single notches. Here you're going to have matching double notches. When you flip it, you're going to have a pocket that's on top of the side panel. Here I am sewing with my twin needle. And just to keep things in place, I've done very quick hand basting. I'd rather be safe than sorry and not have the fabric wiggle around. Here is my middle panel. Now that I've sewn the top of the pocket, I can place it on top. And I'm going to give it some very quick hand basting in this area so it doesn't move, and this can just act like one piece as the middle panel right there. Okay, so here we have one leg piece pinned right there. Very easy to put together. Here is the other side. So two straight seams coming. There's no way you can make a mistake because of all of these you have a single notch and a single notch to put together, and a double with a double, so you don't end up sewing them the wrong way. Okay, here's one leg done. You can see the seams there. Take the other leg and put it on top, and now we're going to sew the crotch seams. The crotch seams are sewn, and now we're going to open up. It doesn't matter which one you do first, whether the front or the back, just extend one of these, and we're going to get our gusset piece. So we'll get this one sewn now. Those little marks are going to match the crotch seams. So we're going to put this right here, match the crotch seam over there, and then we'll pin on the other side. After sewing that one, now I've taken the back and I'm pinning it onto this other side of the gusset, little mark, and then all we have left is to sew on the waistband. This is how the shorts look, wrong sides out. Here is a little gusset that we've sewn. So actually this is the middle of the crotch area where you would have a seam here if you didn't have the gusset. That is a sensitive area. It could be very uncomfortable to have a seam right there. So this is awesome. It's really, really neat. There's no tricky angles, nothing like that. Let me show you my first pair. I made these with leftovers I had from making a pair of leggings because I didn't have much fabric. I didn't try to pattern match anything. I just put the pieces and cut them there however they came out. So these little shapes don't make too much sense, but that's okay. And for this one, for the side panel, I used a black athletic knit there. And then for the pocket, I used the fabric. So it looks like a little bit of color blocking, but that was the only way I could get enough fabric to make these. These were a test garment. So there's the waistband. And these, because I made these at the beginning of the process, they don't have the gusset that comes later in the final pattern. This seam, that for some people is really uncomfortable. Right there, this junction of seams, which gets avoided with the gusset that you'll see later that is a rectangle that goes like this. Then I made these blue ones. These ones do have the gusset here because this was made using the final pattern. It's a rectangle like that. So when you see the shorts, the front crotch looks super short, same as the back. It looks really strange. A little bit of length missing because it's going to be filled up with a gusset there. I did the hem with a twin needle right there. In this area of the pockets, you have two layers, so it's bulkier at the hem. And these are the simple pockets. So nice. You can fit a whole phone in there. They're quite nice and long. Very easy to sew. Waistband, they're just so easy. I mean, you could whip up so many of these. You don't need much fabric, and yeah, you can get really hooked on these. And this is the pair that you saw in the sewing segment. This print is just, yeah, it's green, it's snake print, it's very out there, but I think it's okay for this type of garment. I like that there's a little bit of white in here, and because of all the print you can't really see much, but I also wanted to make a tankini out of the fabric, so I only had enough fabric to cut one pocket on the, and whenever I have fabric for just one pocket, I'll put it on my dominant side because I do everything with my right hand. So this is on my right leg right there, so it's easier for me, and I have that there. But then over here I just have the middle panel. So if you're not interested in the pockets, you can skip them for sure if you don't want to do them. If you don't think it makes sense for you, just sew the middle panels in there and it'll be even easier. But the pockets are easy anyway. So with this one, because it's white on the inside, I'm going to show you the seams. This is why I chose this fabric to film the sewing segment as well, because it's easier to see all the seams. Everything with the serger. There is the gusset on the inside, very nice. The hem, the waistband. Remember, my waistband is 1.5 inches longer than the pattern piece just because I wanted it to be a little less tight. I still have about 4.5 inches of negative ease here. It still holds up really well. It's not going to fall off. It just feels a bit more comfortable for me. I'm going to show you these on with the tankini, the dress, so lookbooks come a little later at the end of the episode. Now let's see how to sew the tankini or the dress. The only difference here is that the dress is longer but the pieces are the same. I'm not sewing a separate bra on its own this time, but the steps are sort of the same. It's just that instead of the tankini or the dress, you would have 2 layers of the bra. So the way that you finish the neckline and the armholes is exactly the same. Here are the pieces for the tankini, and actually it's the same thing for the dress. It's just that for the dress the pieces are longer, but everything's the same. This is the center back piece. This is the side back piece over here. Over here I have 2, of course. One goes there, one goes on the other side. In this area here you have double notches that help you put that together so you don't get confused. This is the center front piece. You can see the soft V type of neckline right there on the top. Side front piece right there, and in this area we have single notches that are going to help us put this together. This is the front piece. You can see the shape of the neckline here. It's just one full piece. It doesn't have all the seams that the tankini or the dress has. And this is the back. You can see at the back we're going to get a type of square neckline over there. And now for the front, I'm not going to sew it in a single layer. So this is my power mesh. I cut it out of the same pattern piece, and I'm going to place this on the wrong side of my fabric. Right there on top, I'm going to hand baste it all around so that this ends up acting as one piece. These first couple of steps involve putting all of these pieces together. This is the front. Very easy to put them together because you have notches right here, single ones, so you're not going to make a mistake with the back. The back would have double. This is going to be fairly easy to put together, and then the back is something similar. I'm going to be sewing everything on the serger and trimming away as I go, as I've been constructing all of these items. I'm sewing the seams, uniting the front pieces. They're slightly curved, nothing hard to do, and I'm trimming away 1/8 of an inch as I go to respect the 3/8 seam allowance. Remember, if you don't trim away, you're actually using a smaller seam allowance, just 1/4 of an inch. And particularly in this pattern, it can affect the neckline area because then we have a bra to sew on there. So we need to be as accurate as possible. Now that the pieces are all together, we're going to put them right sides together and align them at the shoulder seams and get the shoulder seams sewn right here. 2 little seams. I'm going to use my tiny zigzag stitch to sew them on the sewing machine, and then I can press the seams open. Here's my front piece with the power mesh already basted on. This is the right side of the swim. This is the power mesh over here. So that's done. I can forget that the 2 layers are there, and I'm going to just place this here right sides up. And now I'm going to get the back piece, put them right sides together, and sew the shoulder seams of the bra in the same way that we sewed the shoulder seams of the tankini. The other bra pieces extended here with the shoulder seams already sewn. I'm going to put this on top right here and align them at the neckline. They have the same shape. And I'm going to be sewing this with the sewing machine with that small zigzag stitch over here. Okay, here is the neckline all basted together. In these areas where I know I have to pivot, I drew a little dot there so it's easy for me to not guess. You can see where those dots were marked and how I pivoted. You can do it with a little zigzag, there's no issue there. So what I'm going to do now is snip into these little areas, and after that we're going to sew elastic in several sections, trim right into there. This is the only way that the neckline is going to have its shape. I'm going to prefer to leave these areas free of elastic and just sew clear elastic a little before and a little after these areas so that the snipped areas are free. So remember, the trick I use so that you don't see the lining afterwards is to sew the clear elastic onto the main layer, not on this side on the lining layer. The lining is the bra in this case, and I'm going to make the elastic go past that seam by about 1/8 of an inch. Now this V section in the front is different. The back was straight across, so it was all continuous. But over here, I'm actually going to sew 2 little bits of elastic. Okay, there we have it. You can barely see the clear elastic. It's sewn in there. You can see how stable the neckline is going to be now. Okay, there's the neckline sewn. and then sewn again with the elastic in separate sections. And now we can turn the neckline right sides out, whichever way you want to do it. And now we're going to finish the armholes with the burrito method. Let's just get this side and just roll it up here so that it's nice and accessible here. Just leave it rolled up there. And now let's open up this one. This is the armhole we're going to sew first, and we're going to wrap this around this little thing that we rolled up first, and we're going to match it up, and we're going to have one armhole here. And keeping all that rolled up inside, we're going to have this armhole to sew right there. I'm going to sew it directly on the serger. Okay, there is the armhole sewn directly on the serger. Now we don't turn it around yet. Now we need to apply the same type of clear elastic that we applied on the neckline. I'm going to use the same trick I did over here, which is let the elastic come in a little bit here further than the seam. And over here on the edges, I'm going to leave free about 5/8 so it doesn't interfere with sewing the side seams later. Okay, the elastic is in now, so now we can turn it right sides out. So just put your hand in there, pull the garment, and just start pulling it gently over here. This is the part where it can get a little bit bulky. As you can see, the whole garment is in this shoulder area. So that's why I did a smaller seam allowance there, and I think that helped. Okay, let's roll this side up. That's already been finished. This is a finished armhole so that it's easier. Bring it forward, and then take this open armhole over here, bring it over and wrap it around like that. That's what we align, and now we serge and do the elastic. Okay, there's the other armhole sewn. So let's pull it out again from here. This is the bulky area. I haven't had any stitches pop or anything like that, so that's good. Neckline and armholes done, very clean. I love that. Okay, what we need to sew now are the side seams. Super easy. We're just going to take these and extend these as well, and bring them together. Partially a bra, partially the whole side seam of the tankini or the dress. So we'll just line these up and sew them. This is what it looks like. 2 side seams now. Okay, here is a tankini turned to the wrong side. You can see the bra right there. But now we need to add the elastic to the bottom of the bra. Now I left you there without sewing the elastic at the underbust area. I think that is something that you can do easily. The instructions show it really, really well. And it's just sewing an elastic to the bottom of the bra and folding it in and top stitching. Now always check the size chart recommendation for the length. I did find that a little too tight for me as well. I always just view those a recommendation because I prefer to put the elastic at the underbust area and figure out what's comfortable for me, because I'm really sensitive to elastic being tight and trying to dig in. So mine is longer, it's just what I feel most comfortable there. This was my first version of the tankini, the test garment. Again, I was not trying to pattern match, so these little shapes ended up right at my underbust area, and I'm so glad they didn't end up higher, because then they would have looked very awkward. This already has the 1 inch added over here. Everything's good. I'm happy with the length. And this one, because it was done at the very beginning, doesn't have the stabilized armholes or neckline. Instead, we have understitching. So there's nothing inside keeping it nice and stable. So if you were thinking, maybe I'll just skip the elastic and just leave it, I suggest you don't do it. Although this doesn't gape or stretch out, I know it's a piece that's more vulnerable than the ones that do have the elastic inside.
I have a black sports bra inside. It's really hard to see the details because it's all black in there, but it's amazing. So let's see this one on, styled a few ways, including the shorts that match. And I decided to style it with other bottoms as well, because this can be for other things, not just swimming or athletic wear. I'm not trying to dress this up. I'm keeping it all casual, but just a little bit different. So let's see.
This is one of my Clearwater sets composed of a tankini and one of the shorties. This was a type of prototype during testing. There were some changes made, mainly in the way you finish the armholes, and there's an extra gusset added to the shorts. This is a very heavy athletic knit. I wasn't trying to pattern match or anything because I was working with leftovers. I sewed a size large, standard bust for the tankini, size large for the shorties as well. On the middle panel between the front and the back leg, I have contrasting black fabric, and you can see the pocket there, the pocket opening. Very easy to sew pockets. And up on the top you can see my Tankini, beautiful sweetheart neckline, very delicate one. At the back it looks more like a square neckline. The depth of the armholes is okay. Here is a closer look at those princess seams that come from the neckline right there. On the inside this is finished with a built-in bra that you can't see obviously, but it is in there, made out of swim fabric, and the front section is also supported by power mesh. Love this little outfit. I think it's really cute for working out or for getting into the water. I think this athletic knit can go both ways, and I'm very happy with this one. This top I can wear on its own as well, and I've got it paired here with my denim Tinley shorts that I made a few months ago. Super cute shorts, very casual outfit, super comfortable. The built-in sports bra has enough support for regular day activities, and it's just so comfortable to wear over the Tinley shorts. So I'm not gonna just be wearing this for swimming or working out. I think I could get away with wearing it to go somewhere like this, casual of course, and I really love how this looks. The grey and the black and the white in here are one of my favorite combinations, so I couldn't really go wrong with this fabric choice. Here is another casual option for me. I am not trying to dress this up. Look, you can see I've got Birkenstocks there. That is not dressed up. This is an Allegro skirt I made a few years ago out of a grey denim as well with a fake button placket, and I think it goes really nicely with the Tankini here, the Clearwater. It's a really nice top, nice and fitted. The sports bra underneath feels amazing. I'm sure I can rock this to some place very casual and feel really, really good with my Tankini. You know, I love this fabric because it's not shiny, so it's not in your face, a swim or an athletic type of garment. Because it doesn't shine, I think it can go further in the wardrobe for more styling options. Here is my gorgeous dress. It's so pretty. I love the colors. This is a swim fabric that doesn't have shine to it. That's why I loved it so much. I don't like swim fabrics that are super shiny. This is my preference there. And on the inside I have swim fabric for the bra. Beautiful neckline. You can see it's like a sweetheart but softer. The armhole, I'm very happy with the coverage here. I wouldn't want it any higher. I wouldn't want it lower, so I think it's okay. And we have seams going down all the way, but you know, it's a print so you can't really see them. I think the fit is outstanding. I also have an inch added here to the dress around this section, around the bust area of length, and then I added the rest at the hem, 1.5 inches. Here is my bra underneath. You can see the elastic is folded to the inside top stitch there with a zigzag stitch. On the front we have the power mesh right there. That's what you can see, that's what's touching this fabric. But on the back I just have a single layer, just a swim. Here you can see all the seams that go down, the hem, all very nice. Love sewing this, it was so much fun. I sewed this one after sewing the Tankini, so I knew the fit was going to be spot on, so I was so excited to have it. And it's so cute. Let's see this one on. I've styled it two ways. The first couple of images you'll see I'm wearing the briefs underneath, which you will never know because I'm not modeling that, but I can just walk straight into the water with that. And at the end I'm going to show you the shorties and lift up the dress so you can see the shorties underneath. So let's see the dress. Here is my Clearwater dress. I think it's super cute. This is a swim fabric, very heavyweight. It's a really nice swim fabric because it's not shiny as well. I really don't like shiny fabrics. And this is shorter than I would wear a regular dress, obviously, because this is for sport activities. I could get in the water with this. Underneath here, you won't see it because I won't show it to you, is my Clearwater briefs, which are made out of a navy swim fabric. So if I wanted to get into the pool or the beach in this exact dress with my briefs under there, I would be perfectly fine. I love this dress. It's just so pretty. It's the same sweetheart neckline, same armhole. The clear elastic that supports the armholes and neckline is really good. Here I'm doing a little bit of a bounce test for you. Although I wouldn't go out for a run, I think I could go out for a walk. I would be okay with this, with the support that the power mesh gives on the inside. Very nice technique with a burrito method. It's very clean. I've got blue swim fabric inside, and I decided not to top stitch anything. I just prefer to have the clean look here, and everything stays really nice and flat. And I love this dress. I think it's mega adorable, and this fabric was a find for me. I absolutely love this print because It's just weird, it's not floral, it's not geometric, it's just really cool, and I love the blue tones here. If I wanted to go out for a walk or something, I could wear a little jacket on top, a sleeveless one. This is made out of a denim look cotton jersey, the little jacket. It's got a full zipper, I've got blue sneakers. I think this is really, really cute. And underneath I could wear shorties. I'm going to show you the shorties separately though. I have made a pair of blue shorties to go underneath, and that would be amazing to go out on a walk. It would be more comfortable. And then I have the briefs made out of swim to go actually into the water. So, you know, I'm not trying to dress this up, but I would go out to somewhere very casual like this and feel good. Just depends on the context and where I'm going. Here's my dress, and I'm going to show you where the length of the blue shorties I made goes up to. It's just like the mid-thigh. It's shorter than the dress, which was important for me. My dress is longer. I lengthened it by 1 inch around the bust area and then 1.5 inches at the hem. So in total 2.5 inches longer than the original. I couldn't have worn it any shorter than this, and this is the shortest I would wear the dress. I really like how this looks with the shorties, although no one's going to know they are under there. They are under there, and they are super practical and very comfortable. Very nice waistband right there, easy to stow shorts. The gusset is very comfortable there on the inseam area, and it's just a great pair of little shorties. I know I'm going to enjoy wearing these a lot under the dress and with other things as well. Here is my final tankini, the one from the tutorial. So pretty, matches the shorts. Everything is exactly the same. There's nothing different. Only thing different is the fabric. I really love sewing this one all in the serger there. My black swim fabric on the inside is very nice. Feels so amazing. Of course, the power mesh is here on the front part of it. You saw how I basted that in. And then you can forget about that it's there. It won't change the sewing technique or anything like that. So this is gorgeous. I love it. Let's see it on with the shorties that match and with something else. Here is another set made out of the tankini and the shorties. I know the fabric is a lot. It's green. It's got a type of a snake print on there. Same type of athletic knit, quite heavy, quite structured, nice compression. And here are the shorts. Didn't make any changes to the pattern. I only put one pocket on one of the side panels. There's the waistband at the back. Very, very comfortable. And the tankini has a good length, although looking at it now, I would like it maybe an inch longer. There is the neckline, super nice, little bounce test for you. And I love it. It's the right depth. I'm not showing cleavage. I'm very, very comfortable. And I really, really like this green set, although I know it's a little bit out there. It's okay for me. Same as with my other tankini, I know I can wear this just on its own with something else on the bottom, like this green linen skirt. My gorgeous Birkenstocks again. I am the type that is a fan of the style. Although I know a lot of people find them really ugly, I don't. There you go. I think the green tones go together really well. Other ways I can wear it, not just for working out, not just for swimming, and I know I'm gonna really like wearing this on its own. I had so much fun making these. Don't think these things are hard to make if you've never made anything like this. It's not daunting at all. The instructions are super clear. I hope the steps that I showed you here are helpful as well. If you want to, you can join my Patreon page. You don't have to be there for months on end. You can leave whenever you want, and you can also access all the extra content I post there. Very detailed sew-alongs, different patterns. In this case, this month's pattern was very detailed there in the filming. So I welcome you there if you want to go.
Remember that the Clearwater Summer Essentials are on sale for the first week.
It's around 25% off, and if you use my code, you get an extra 10% off on top. Don't forget that. My code has changed. It's 10 pins right now, so look in the description box and the pinned comment so you can always see what the current code is. I hope you give these a go. Have some fun sewing yourself some active or swimwear. You're gonna be super happy. I'm really happy, even though I'm in the winter, you know, but I'm happy to have them, and they were a blast to make. That's all from me, and I'll see you again on this channel with more sewing content very soon. Bye!